Well, hi, Ashley. Nice job on your DQ this week. You always do good work, and I always enjoy your insights because it's interesting for me, sitting on the periphery as a professor, kind of out in the hinterland of what's going on from your perspective in the machinations of JWMI. So it's always fascinating to me, and certainly I hold it close so you don't have to worry about giving up any confidences or anything. But and I do agree with you. I think that having a enlightened leadership team, which we have had, thankfully, at JWMI for a long time, makes everything incredibly easier and puts the focus in the right places. I also agree that putting trust and candor has a great effect on an organization. And I was happy to see that you put it a little bit further down on the list. Not that there's any correct list, if you will, but it's more difficult than people would think to get that institutionalized in an organization. So good work this week. Before I get into that, two quick things. One is I always grade the body of work. I look at your primary posts, I look at your cross posts, I look at answers to my questions, roll all that up, and that's how I come up with your grade. So if you miss something in your primary post and pick it up somewhere downstream, then you still get credit for that, certainly. We're back to Wednesday to Sunday being the rhythm of our DQs. So I look at DQs principally on Thursdays and Fridays. And with that, I look at and give you feedback. But if I find something that's missing or in error or maybe that I don't understand, I'll let you know that. And you have an opportunity to go in and address it before I start grading that subsequent Monday. So let me go through the criteria really quick. First is timeliness. No issues there. I just like to reinforce we're back to Wednesday to Sunday. And the reason we push early posting is that it opens up the aperture as wide as we can and gives your colleagues the opportunity to react to your postings. And that's just part of our learning process and why we push posting early. The second criteria is not thought leadership, but being well supported. The minimum criteria is applying the classroom material, but that's the minimum standard. I'm really looking for your professional experience, your expertise, insights from that, examples from that reinforce your arguments. And that makes for a very powerful post. And it also allows me to understand how to apply the material. The third criteria is using outside resources. While it's not mandatory, I certainly encourage it. There's a lot of good writing on the HR topics we talk about. It helps reinforce your arguments and makes for a more effective post. So, as I said, I encourage outside resources. Third criteria is professional communication. That means I'm just looking for good business writing. Your writing is good. It's also a chance for me to advertise the use of Grammarly, which helps any good writer even be better. Final criteria is thought leadership. Thought leadership is a combination of innovative thinking, different ways to apply the material, different thoughts about the material, and even a contrarian view falls into that. Doesn't say in the course guide you have to agree with everything. If you disagree with something, bring it forward so we can get your perspective. Maybe something we haven't thought about, and it would be interesting to get into that kind of dialogue in the course. So I encourage that and reward that. The other two sub-criteria, one of which is engaging the class. The other is asking probing questions. They're pretty much co-joined. Engaging the class, we're talking about the cross posts, and I'm looking for quality and not just quantity. A post that says, "Hey, Rick, you did good this week. Thanks for the insights," is pleasant, and I'm not against being pleasant, but that's not really a cross post that I'm looking for. And the second piece is asking a probing question. If you ask a good question, it forces you to think differently about the material, forces the recipient to think differently about the material. We all go deeper, and that enhances our learning experience, and that's what we're about. Or that's what we're about here in the class. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm delighted you're in the class again. You were a great student before, and I'm sure that you will be a great student again. Thanks for your insights. I look for great things from you, as I said. And as always, if you need something, just give me a buzz. Cheers.